take the second presenter, Dr. Samti Ivande. Over to you, Sam. You need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'll just have the screen up just a second. Okay, is it up now? Okay. Yeah, so you all, some of you have seen a couple of times in the thank you, Talatu, for the wonderful talk. Just giving a nice background to the next step I'm going to be talking about. So this talk, the continuing evolution of citizen science in West Africa. And essentially, I'll be talking about the people side of things, the experiences that people have shared with us by participating in the Bird Atlas. You already heard how things were when we started at the end of 2015. So Les already mentioned that there were lots of people who were not very sure that atlasing was going to take off in Nigeria. And of course, when you consider that we're a small team of 3 people, and a lot of people thought we were crazy when we started this. But very quickly, we had to get to work and see what we could do, to get more and more people interested in the Atlas project. And one of the first things that we decided to do was to do a map, but not a map of birds, rather a map of people. So we're going to rely on colleagues, mainly Aplori graduates. And it's interesting that a Bird Atlas started rather with an atlas of people, so an atlas of birders, and the main stakeholders that we're trying to get on board with this idea that a lot of people didn't initially think was going to work. And so the key strategy at the time was, let's try and get as many people on board with this idea, people who already have the experience with bird watching, get them to begin to participate. And as part of this strategy, there was the idea that we can begin to form bird clubs around these people who already had experience. So the experienced birders, the trained ornithologists, mostly alumni from Aplori, we're going to more or less form the framework or the backbone upon which this entire project. So a citizen science project in an environment where citizen science was more or less entirely new. And the idea for the bird club, was, okay, we'll get people with the skills, and then we get people with the interests and bring them together. And so in bringing them together within that platform or that context of a bird club, we could then get people to interact. There will be skills transfer. And then, of course, the idea is about biodiversity conservation and, getting people interested with nature was going to then begin to spread out. And, one other aspect was we were really thinking about a citizen science project involving people who were only beginning to learn the skills. So we thought also that using this sort of strategy or the bird clubs was a way also that we could have some sort of quality control for the data that was coming into the database. And so we set off with starting these bird clubs. And so again, matching this initial distribution of people with the skills, we were then able to build bird clubs around most of these skilled persons. And the idea was, if we could get a good spread of bird clubs around the country, then we could kind of get sustained momentum of birders who were contributing to the Atlas project, collecting or recording their sightings, and then making a contribution to the Atlas project. That was the idea for the bird clubs. And very quickly, we were able to get this bird club up and running. Now we have somewhere close to 30 bird clubs in Nigeria. But then the amazing thing about the bird clubs is best highlighted of the really, really interesting groups. So bird club in Ibadan, in the Southwest, from members of the bird club, we started to get a group that came together and made dedicated atlasing one of the core activities, of these clubs. And so we always talk about the Southwest Atlas team because what this group did is really, really amazing. And it kind of was the spark that led to all of the amazing successes that, we all talk about now with citizen science in Nigeria. So the Southwest Atlas team was formed in 2016, and you can see in the maps below, how much impact this group has made. So these were mainly people from various bird clubs in the Southwest region coming together to do dedicated atlasing. So it's usually once a month, and we currently have some of them making plans to go out next week for another outing. So this is people motivating each other, coming together to work as a team, and we can see what, as is often said, you can see the great things that can be achieved when people work together. So this is about the people, and the Southwest Atlas team is actually the spark that took off for us in Nigeria. And after this model, so the Southwest Atlas team kind of were like the leading lights for us in terms of getting people to motivate one another, work together. And the ideas that came with that group were then, we tried to use those ideas to replicate, similar progress in the North. And that's how we ended up with another in the North called Arewa Atlas team. Again, you can see, how remarkable the impact has been in terms of making a contribution to the Atlas project. So increased coverage in the North, and all because of this dedicated group, of young Nigerians working together through the bird clubs and through the Atlas teams to do all of this really remarkable work that we're talking about today. So we had the bird clubs, and we thought that was a really great, great platform to get people, engaged, get people involved. But then we also knew that there were lots of people who were really interested in atlasing, but often always didn't feel confident to participate. So lots of people kept on telling us, oh, we would like to join this project, we would like to participate, we would like to spend time outdoors, we enjoy nature, but we would really like opportunities to get the skills to be able to contribute and participate in the Nigeria Bird Atlas project. And of course, that got us thinking, and in 2019, we were able to get together and get some funds from the National Geographic Society. So this funding was put into field courses. So we had 2 field courses and brought together lots of this nature enthusiasts. So we had people with diverse backgrounds. Some of them were accountants, some were pharmacists, some of them architects, people from diverse backgrounds, but who just had an interest in nature and were really, really keen to get the skills. And so through this field course, we had 2 of these fields, one in the South, and we got these people together. And after a month, of intensive bird watching and training them on various aspects of the Bird Atlas protocol, many of them have gone back and are now beginning to make, very valuable contributions to the Atlas project. But one key thing that came out of this, again, was another Atlas team that came up in the Southeast, South, and they call themselves CSAT. So again, when we're talking about all of these really interesting stories, the progress in the Southwest, the progress in the North, then the members of this, or the participants at this course, most of them so those of the participants at the course from the Southeast and the South, really thought that it was time for them to get together and also start an Atlas team in the Southeast, South of Nigeria. So again, you will just see in the map below most of what we would refer to as their domain. And the CSAT is also making really, really remarkable progress, increasing the coverage around this region. So all of this are really interesting developments that we see happening in a society or in a community that's, Les said before, a lot of people thought, citizen science wasn't really going to catch on, and atlasing was not really going to work. But we are really, really amazed at all of this, interests and the impact that a project like the Nigeria Bird Atlas project has really sparked off in Nigeria. And the key thing to actually talk about is, the group and the community that has been formed around all of this. So if you go on the Nigeria Bird Atlas project, the Facebook page, you will see that there is an engagement from about close to 5,000 members of this Facebook group. So there are, of course, people at different levels of interest, different levels of engagements, but it's really remarkable to have, a community beginning to build around the Bird Atlas project. And like Les often says, this is actually the amazing thing about the Nigerian Bird Atlas project. It is indeed the people that have all come together because of this project. So that's really remarkable, and I would say worth celebrating. So as you already heard, of course, all of this in West Africa started off in Nigeria, but very quickly we got into Sierra Leone with colleagues. Like you heard Dr. Talatu saying before, we had graduates from Aplori who had gone back to their various countries. And so a workshop in Sierra Leone kicked off the Sierra Leone Bird Atlas project. In similar fashions, we had another workshop in Liberia. And Clara is here doing a really amazing job beginning to get people together for the Liberian Bird Atlas. And of course, a few days ago, we had the online virtual workshop, which kickstarted the Ghana Bird Atlas project as well. So this is all really, really amazing, and to see all of this community grow and begin to form around the Bird Atlas project. But it's amazing because it's not just about birds. Like I like to say and tell most of the members of the bird clubs and all of the groups and people that I interact with, I say birds are just a window to nature. And it is really what we are beginning to observe, because you see people going out initially joining the bird clubs, but then people are beginning to get interested in other biodiversity as well. So one of them that is really catching on is butterflies, and I remember a few weeks ago during one of the BDI citizen hours, there was talk about the growing community of people who are also beginning to get involved with the virtual museum, also taking photos of butterflies and bringing them and submitting that to the virtual museum as well. So this again is just a photo from the photo albums on the Nigerian Bird Atlas Facebook page. And you will see that there are lots of interest in other biodiversity as well. People are beginning to take photos and bring, upload them into the group and ask questions about all of this. And for me, that is really the amazing thing about all of what is going on with citizen science in West Africa. And of course, this often leads to, people with other interests coming together as well. So most of you are now beginning to see the remarkable engagement that is now going on the West African Wildlife and Nature Photography Group. I'm sure you will hear a lot more about that from Ringin when he comes up, to talk about the engagement that comes on here. And you have people, bringing photos from various taxa and asking lots of questions about the environment. And for us, I think that is the key thing, getting that community working together and asking questions about nature and actually putting in the work and acting to ensure that biodiversity is conserved and nature is remains on the agenda on people's minds. So that is really the amazing thing that has been going on with citizen science in West Africa. And of course, we always have to have at the back of our minds at all times that all interests are welcomed when we talk about citizen science. So this may have started off about birds, but we can see how very quickly this has become about biodiversity in general. So this is one of the really amazing things that we should always remember about what is going on with citizen science in West Africa. But if I would summarize all of what is going on, and of course we now have new projects coming up in other countries, you know, and people that might be interested in the development of citizen science in their various countries. Some of the things I can say from our experience in Nigeria is that it is really important to organize whatever existing community there is. So for us in Nigeria, it was really good for us to have the alumni from Aplori, around which we started the Bird Atlas project, and we can now see what is going on, you know, with all of the happenings that are now, the developments that are growing out of the Bird Atlas project. And that bird club strategy was really valuable for people because it's helped people to build confidence to be able to participate. So initially when they started, a lot of people thought, oh, well, you had to be an ornithologist or you had to have had a degree in ornithology for you to participate. But through the bird clubs, lots of people began to develop the skills that allowed them to confidently participate. And there was a lot of work to create awareness from the beginning. And I think it is something that I will always recommend for anybody who is interested in, you know, starting a movement, you know, of people for citizen science. And social media has been very valuable for us. Most of the coordination and the organization happens on WhatsApp and Facebook. So we can really see how valuable these platforms can be. And, you know, learning from our experience that a lot of people would like to participate. The interest is there. And for some of these people, all they need is a bit of an opportunity to get some more skills to participate. And that is all that it takes for some people. And so the opportunity to organize those field courses also was another eye-opener, letting us know that if we could continue to create opportunities for people, you know, to get the basic and fundamental required to participate, then there will be even increased engagement and participation. And of course, it's always very helpful when there is the funding to put all of this together. So all of this training and the awareness creation and Atlas in itself can require resources, and having access to funding is always very valuable. So these are some of the lessons from how we have greatly enjoyed an increase in the citizen science community in Nigeria and now spreading into other parts of West Africa. This is really amazing, and if there is anything that we should celebrate, mostly it is actually the community that is coming together, all for biodiversity. Of course, from the Bird Atlas project, but we can see all of the diverse impacts that this is having as citizen science in West Africa continues to develop. Of course, this is all because of these citizen scientists, and we would like to acknowledge all of them. And I thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Sam, for this wonderful presentation. In fact, I feel very honored to see some of the remarkable, you know, and outstanding job that we have done in Nigeria. Thank you very much. And thanks the NIBAP team for such a wonderful presentation. So any comments from members?
Sam, this is absolutely amazing. I've just been chatting to Oscar while this was on. Sorry, my wife's got the television on the background. I hope it isn't distracting. I mean, I just made a comment that we can all learn. You know, when I was president of LEPSOC, I wanted to do something like this, and I just couldn't get it to take hold. I think, you know, my colleagues down here were a little bit too, what's the word, elitist? Is that the right way of saying it? And you know, what we need to do is desperately is get the community involved, and if we can do something like this, you know, for butterflies and moths all over Africa. But you know, we in South Africa, we are behind where you guys are with butterflies. We really are. You know, to get this level of enthusiasm across the whole country, I can only take my hat off to you. It's a brilliant job. Well done.
Okay. Les?
Yeah, all I can say is I support Steve to the hilt, and I think you guys are leaving us in the shade. I think what you're doing is little short of amazing. So well done to Team Nigeria, and hopefully becoming Team West Africa.
West Africa, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just ask a question, just as a thought? So you mentioned the importance of WhatsApp and Facebook, and these are being used as they're being used as products, as services, which are available as standard. They're there. I mean, my impression is that a lot of these tech giants are looking to Africa for the next phase of their development. They're talking about the next billion. And I'm wondering, is it possible to actually liaise with the tech giants and get their financial support and also their technical support for some of this? So I mean, I could imagine that they could be quite willing to pay for some of this work, and also to use their platforms for things like the visualization of data. Get these data visualized and out there so that they're being used for all sorts of things. That's just a thought.
That's a good suggestion, David. It really is.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, never mind the tech giants. One of the people I roped in when I was trying to get a similar thing going in Websocket was good old Strilly Oppenheimer and the chief henchman Duncan McFadgen. And Duncan and I are still in touch. And Les, I think we need to rope him in on one of these, and Mark Anderson as well. I know Duncan in particular, I think he'd be blown away by it. So yeah, we can talk about that in our little group before we talk next week. But I think we need to think about how we're going to get a broader audience amongst the people who help to support this kind of initiative.
I could imagine that Google, for example, would be quite happy to integrate distribution maps. I can imagine that Bill Gates would be quite happy to stump up money for this kind of thing. And then Facebook as well. There's all sorts of ways in which they could be quite happy to promote engagement, share data, share visualization, all sorts of things. So there's huge resources and huge motivation from there, which could be tapped into. I was thinking a little bit, we talked a couple of meetings ago about when we're collecting photographs, these can be photographs not just of the organism, but also of the habitat. And again, involvement of Google with Google Maps. They're setting out to sort of map everything, map the landscape. And they might be quite happy to create these mega databases where people could just take 360 photographs, and they could be archived, they could be dated, and you could pull out all sorts of visualization changes in habitat, changes in landscape, and so on. Yeah, I'm just thinking aloud.
Yeah, it's really amazing what technology continues to how it continues to develop and how it can be valuable for various things, including what we're talking about now. I think it's also it's common knowledge already here how much the introduction of the Bird Lasser app itself was, for the taking up of atlasing in Nigeria. Because when it started and we had to use lists and people going to the website to upload some of those, it was really slow until Bird Lasser was extended to the coverage got across all of West Africa, and we started using it in Nigeria as well. So technology is one of the very vital things, and of course we are also finding them very useful with the WhatsApp and Facebook organizing people. I just saw recently also that National Geographic Society, again, trying to leverage this developments in technology. So there was a specific call out, asking people to look for ways to continue to integrate, I think, artificial intelligence and other advances in technology for biodiversity conservation. Of course, I would really be interested in seeing, you know, the sort of things that come up out of all of this recent call. But I think it's really valuable, you know, what technology to the table when we think about biodiversity conservation as well.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question?
Yes.
Okay.
Ulfa.
Okay.
I was thinking, do you see me? I was thinking, David, how do we get in contact with these people? Google and Facebook. I mean, I would be happy to try to work with it, but we know that they are there, but how do we get
touch with them.
a shortcut into them? I mean, how do we approach them? So, I mean, we all know that we think we are sitting on something really good, but how do we give that to other people, and how do we share it in a way that they take it up? That for me, that's a question, and something I actually thinking about more or less every day, not so full days, but every day something. I mean, we have just sent in a proposal to GBIF, and we have worked with other funds, and we have plans. As you all know, and the main reason is to get the database fluent. I mean, still flying, because FITS has its problem with financing, and so everything. I mean, there are groups we are like a group now for African Bird Atlas working with this, and we would be more than happy to ever join and help with this and give suggestions to me or Colin or Les or Peter, Ryan in South Africa, or to Michael, to find ways in. And I will start tomorrow to find if there's anyone and give examples. But I mean, it should be mind-blowing for many people that Africa is coming so far, and many countries in Africa are coming this far, and even places like Nigeria and Kenya, where you don't think that anything will happen, and we are still there. And there's many countries coming. We have introduced it in Sierra Leone, to Liberia. We just this week or last week had a Zoom workshop with Ghana, and we are planning for Cameroon and Ethiopia. They are in Gambia. We are talking with people there, and also talking to people in Rwanda. And BirdLasso now is also in French, so we can go almost all the place. So let's talk about it, and not now, but if anyone have idea, please let me know. I will follow it up and try to work with it. Thank you.
Okay, that's a very good suggestion. Yeah, go ahead, Les.
I think you must go ahead, Ringham.